You're listening to Free Mama Radio, where we believe you can have both a successful business and show up as the mom you want to be. I'm your host, Lauren Golden, a mom who built a full-time income working part-time hours. Now, I help other moms like you learn how to work from home on your own terms, take control of your schedule, and make more money so you can live a totally awesome, guilt-free life. I am on a mission to make sure that no mother has to choose between family and financial stability. So if you've been wondering, can I really have it all? This podcast will give you the answers.
Hey guys. Okay, yay, so excited. I love it. All right, so our lesson today is still marinating in my brain. So just bear with me. This is going to be like super Lauren of me, meaning it's not going to be like a straight, clear thought. We're going to have a couple detours, okay? But this has been showing up for me a little bit. And as you guys know, many of the lessons I bring to you, it's like, oh, it showed up in my life. Oh, and then I coached someone on this topic. And then like, oh, this happened over here. Like, we clearly need to talk about this. Like, if this keeps showing up, we need to talk about it. And what I actually wrote down on Facebook, let me go back so I can tell my Instagram people, what I actually called this EULA, which is fascinating that, 80 of you are watching right now, is I actually called today's EULA, our lesson, is stop doing what other people tell you to do. Now, I realize I tell you that, and then now I'm going to ask you to listen to me so I can tell you what I mean by that. But stop doing what other people tell you to do. So this has shown up multiple times for me in my own business, where how many of you you see someone doing that and you get a little bit of shiny object syndrome, right? Like you think you know what you're doing, or you think you know what you want to do. You think you know your niche, or you think you know like what your marketing strategy is going to be. But then all of a sudden you see somebody over here and like they are getting really loud and they're like, nope, reels. Reels are the way to grow a business. Or they're over here and they're going Clubhouse. Like if you're not on Clubhouse, you are not building a successful business in 2021. Or they're over here and they're like, general virtual assistants, like that's not working. You actually need to do this thing over here. And you're getting confused and you're getting distracted. And because maybe you're new to this and I've been there. So like we don't trust ourselves as much. I think that is the biggest way that I've changed over the course of becoming an entrepreneur, is because I've had this happen so many times where I let other people tell me what to do, even if they're doing it in good intentions, right? It's like, well, that's working for them. Like whether this is a coach or a peer or a friend, it's like, maybe I should be doing that too. Like maybe that is the faster way to find success, or maybe that is, the route that I should be going. The challenge with this is that sometimes when this happens, especially when it's $27. Okay, so I want to explain. I know Instagram, you guys can't see Lauren's comment. So what's awesome, and what I want to tell you guys and what I wrote down is that there's more than one way to have success. That's what I have like tons of notes on. There's more than one way to have success. The reason that so many of us struggle and why so many people who decide to start a business and don't end up ever finding success, it's not because you guys aren't good enough. It's not because they're not good enough. It's not because their idea isn't good enough. It's not because their niche isn't good enough. The reason that it's happening is because you're pivoting too frequently. Not pivoting like responding to a global pandemic. Like we all had to pivot last year, right? Not that kind of pivot. But you're changing your mind too much. You're going, you're finally being consistent in Facebook groups, but then someone tells you or you witness and you convince yourself, well, now I need to be on Clubhouse. And so you abandon this thing that you just started kind of finding your groove with, or finally starting to get consistent. And then you jump ship. And then 3 weeks later, you jump ship again. And then you jump ship. And what happens, you guys, people are failing not because they're not good enough, but because you're not doing something long enough to allow it to be successful. It's like the most insane self-sabotage ever, you guys. And it's so easy to do. And I'm a part of this, it's not really a mom's group because actually I think most people aren't moms, but it's like a ladies group. I don't know. We meet once a month on Sunday nights virtually. There's lots of internet marketers. You guys would know some of the people who are in it. It's really fun. And we met last night, and one of the sweet gals in this group was struggling with this yesterday. She is approaching burnout because she's trying to do all the things. She's trying to be everywhere and be everything to everyone all the time. Now, moms, how many of you feel what I just put down? She's not even a mom, but does that not resonate with you so hard? You're trying to be everywhere for everybody all the time, 110%. Now let's just talk about your business. in your business alone. Are you trying to be everywhere? Are you trying to be on Facebook? I love you, Alexis, and I know you can handle this, that I'm going to call you out. Alexis, you just asked for help the other day, right? About I'm networking in Facebook groups and I'm doing amazing, which you are. If you guys don't know Alexis, she's a boss. She's doing great, but she was asking for help because she said, I feel like, that's when we know it's internal, right? I feel like I have to be there all the time to respond. And now I'm like going crazy because I don't want to be on social media 14 hours a day. Like I'm all set. I've got other things to do, but I want to get the results at the back. I know I need to network. I know I need to get visible. I know I need to do these things. So where do I find this balance? And I'll just give you guys what I told Alexis in our coaching community. I told her, I said, you've got a time block and then protect your time. And you guys can batch your time on social media. Hopefully you're planning to invest in yourself on Mondays at noon with me. You know, I'm going to talk for about 30 minutes. So you're getting a free 30-minute coaching call essentially with me every 30 minutes. Plan for it. And guess what? When I'm done talking, get off social media. Get off. It takes discipline, which if you were at Free Mama Live last year, you heard me talk about discipline and what it actually means. A lot of us have we're kind of like, oh, discipline. It sounds so rigid and whatever. That's not actually what discipline means. And I'm not going to go down I could go down a whole rabbit hole and talk to you guys for hours. But what it really comes down to is we need to have self-awareness and self-control. Okay. So here, I want to bring us back to our message. Stop. We got to quit worrying about what everybody's telling us to do, either directly or subliminally, right? Through their success. And we tell ourselves we have to be doing these things. And I want to give you guys an example of how I did this wretchedly and really messed up and started working way harder and not smarter, which if you know anything about me, that's the opposite of what I try to teach you guys. I try to teach you work smarter, not harder, right? I am the hardest working lazy person you'll ever meet. This is my claim to fame. And yet last year I dug myself in a hole. And so let me tell you a story about what I did and then what I did about it. So last May, I launched a podcast, which is very exciting. And I don't know why I launched it. This is a confession. I don't know that I've ever said this to anybody besides my team. You guys, I don't know why I launched a podcast. I don't listen to very many podcasts. I listen to 2 sometimes. If I'm going to listen to something, it's going to be music or an audiobook. I launched a podcast, but I don't listen to podcasts. Everybody shake your head at Lauren and say, Lauren, why did you do this? Because I was having a lack of self-awareness. I was looking at other people in my industry. I was looking at people that I aspire to be like. And I was like, they all have podcasts. We should have a podcast. And what happened was for the first few months, it was fine, because you're in launch mode and it's marketing. And I'm like, yeah, I love marketing. This is so exciting. Except after that honeymoon phase, who feels me on this? You're so excited. You bought the Free Mama movement. You want to start a business. You're going to quit your job. And then you're like, oh, I have to do the work now. And then it gets a little bit less exciting. Who has been there? Because the fear kicks in. Or if you're picking up what I'm putting down right now, you find yourself doing something that you didn't do a gut check. You didn't have the self-awareness, right? And so instead, you're on Clubhouse and you hate talking to people, or you're doing Facebook Lives and you don't even watch Facebook Lives. You don't like videos because someone told you the only way to get clients is to do Facebook Lives or Reels or whatever. Here's the deal. They all work. They all work as marketing tactics. So let me tell you what I did and then I'll tell you the lesson. We'll wrap it up. Okay. So here's what I did a few months ago. And some of you noticed because some of you have been participating. So you guys, I've been struggling since August. Since August, the podcast has been painful for me. I feel a little guilty telling you that because I know some of you love it. You might have noticed back in December, we polled you guys. We sent out multiple things to be hey, let us know, what do you think about stuff? And if I'm being honest, I was crossing my fingers that everyone's we hate it. We don't even listen to it. Well, that didn't happen. I wanted permission for someone to tell me you don't have to do this thing that you don't like to do. You don't like to sit in an office or a car by yourself and record a video. You like to be on video. You like to interact. I can see you guys commenting and I'm trying to read it as you're going, but it fills me. I'm an extrovert. I can't sit in a room by myself and talk. I'm gonna sit with you guys and talk. And so back in December, like I was literally looking for permission from you guys without saying it to be like, we hate it, kill it dead, stop doing it. Okay. But that didn't happen. And so I was like, I wrestled with this like, and this is honest, you guys, and this is what some of you are going to experience. I wrestled with like, well, if I kill it anyway, because I'm not happy, does that mean I failed? Like, what's that story? And all these different things. And I had all these thoughts running through my head because spoiler, we all have to keep working on our mindset all the time. And you'll notice that about a month and a half ago, you'll notice that I started doing the podcast live on YouTube. Did any of you guys notice that? I started streaming all of my interviews and I love it. I love interviewing people. I love talking to people. So the interviews were always fun, but it was kind of dry because I'm like, oh, I'm just sitting here like talking to this person and it's interesting. But like, there's not a whole lot of energy. And so a few weeks ago, I was like, okay, I love video. I love live because the energy that you get with when I can see your guys' little like emojis and stuff. This is exciting me. Some of you, like the idea of going live on video makes you want to vomit. And for the record, here's your pro tip. You still have to challenge yourself. I used to be terrified of video. Terrified. Like when my first business coach told me to go live, I was like, no, and don't ever say that to me again. Okay. Like it was terrifying. But now that I've like gotten a little bit, I'm like, okay. So I literally sat back and I'm like, okay, I hate sitting in a room talking by myself. I love the free mamas. I love their energy and I love video. And so the first one that I actually did, some of you guys said that you saw, it was Catherine Jones. I thought of it in the second, she got on, I saw her and I'm like, I know Catherine is cool with video. And so I was like, hey, do you care if I stream this somewhere? She's like, I don't care, go nuts. And I'm like, cool. I'm like, we're going to go record this live on YouTube. And she's like, whatever. I'm like, awesome. And so since then I've actually let my guests know, like we'll be streaming it live, but I've had so much more fun. And Vanessa said, and this isn't about me, I'm trying to teach you guys the point here. Vanessa said so much better because your voice is so much more authentic and the energy is there. And that's the point, Vanessa. How do you guys, because this isn't about me, I'm just telling you my experience so that you can learn from it. I was doing what I thought I should do because this is what everybody else who does what I do in business does. They all have a podcast. And so I'm like, I'm going to have a podcast. This is the way to grow, right? Except I hated it because I put myself in an environment that I didn't really want to be in. And so I had to step back and go, cool, where am I my most authentic, energetic self? Which maybe is a question you all should be asking right now. Where are you your most authentic self? Think about it. Are you a writer? And don't think about it in terms of like where you're at now in your business either. Think about you as a person. Like as a child, I had to sit myself in the front row of classrooms because if I was even in the second row, but especially further back, I would talk the whole class. Not because I wasn't a good student, but because I can't help myself. If you've ever met me in real life, like I love to talk. I love to share. I love to connect with people. I love to connect people. I love these things. This is my most authentic self. This is my most authentic energy until about 6:30 p.m. And then we go downhill, right? This is it. And so I had to go, okay, I hate this thing. I hate this thing I've created because I created something that was out of alignment with my own self. I know myself. And I tried to do this thing outside of who I am and what my strengths are. And that clearly hasn't been serving me. And so I went, what will make me love this? And I started streaming it live and it's made a tremendous difference for me. And because now I enjoy it, it doesn't feel as hard. And so the question always that you can reevaluate with yourself as you have more self-control and you have more self-awareness and self-discipline is, am I working harder or smarter? Or how could I do this smarter? Or how can I be more in alignment with my strengths and my desires, right? And for the right, Ashley said, like, I'm so glad you switched the format. What's so interesting, Ashley, number one, Free Mama Radio still exists. We just extract the audio from YouTube and chuck it on the podcast. Like it's repurposing at its finest, right? But I get to do it. I get to show up and create the content in a way that serves me. And then because I'm at a point in business where I have a team, they can help me repurpose it. Most of you aren't there yet. So a few of you are, but most of you aren't there yet. And so this is an example of what happened yesterday, actually, with my friend is She's doing this all by herself and she's trying to do everything and be everything to everybody. Are you doing that? How can you work smarter and not harder? Don't you think you could have a bigger impact by being one place really, really, really well, intentionally with time blocking and batching, not all day long, than trying to be 3 different places or 4 different places sort of well, right? Do you think it's possible that the thing that you want to do or you have experience doing or you have an interest in doing can build you a lucrative career? And just because you see people saying, oh, they need a social media manager, you see somebody else in the Free Mama who just got our 6-figure award and she's a social media manager. Oh, maybe I should do social media management even though I hate it. No, that makes no logical sense. So learn from my mistake. Don't start things that you don't enjoy doing and don't pursue something that you know that you don't enjoy. Okay. Now on the flip side, let's go back to that pro tip before we wrap it up. The pro tip is anytime you do something new, it's going to be hard and scary. Okay. So like this isn't a session about letting excuses hold us back. This is a lesson about self-awareness and working smarter and not harder, right? And the realization, this comes with the self-awareness, the realization that there is more than one way to have success. So if you're constantly focused on how other people are achieving success, then you will continue to convince yourself that the way that they're doing it is the only way. And that is false. There are a lot of different ways to achieve great results. Okay. So find the one that's in alignment for you, find the service that's going to be in alignment for you. And don't be afraid to switch and pivot as you go. I didn't have the awareness that like it was a weird idea to launch a podcast when I launched the podcast. That came later. And so then I spent 6 months, right, going, cool, how do I pivot? How do I adjust? How do I tweak so that I like this again? And so that's what we did. So I'm going to check in. Oh, I got a refresh going on my Google. I'm going to check in and see if you guys had any questions. I saw Jordan in the chat. It has to feel good or in alignment with your values for it to be sustainable. So true. I love that. Hey, Hope. I like listening, but I love listening and watching. That is awesome, Hope, because that is in alignment with how I feel too. Alignment. Maybe that's the word for today. Alignment. Stop worrying about what other people are telling you to do. Stop worrying about what you think is making other people successful and find the path that is in alignment for you. What is utilizing your strengths, even if it's scary when you start. And it will be. It is always scary when you start. And what's so cool about all you guys on Facebook, like it doesn't surprise me that every single one of you is telling me you'd rather watch me. Why? Because you're sitting here on my EULA. And when we did our poll back in December, it was fascinating because everybody who told us that they watched my live videos said that they did not listen to the podcast and vice versa. So it just goes to show like nothing in this world is one size fits all. You can never please everybody. And so I'm fortunate in that I now have grown my business to that I have a team who can help me repurpose so we can meet people where they're at. But that was not always so, you guys. And so everything you see now, Free Mama TV, Free Mama, none of that existed when it was just me. I started with the Facebook group. That was it. One thing. And I had my personal profile. That was it. How can I do this thing really, really well? And that's where my time and energy went. So just be careful because it's easy to look at other people and see, oh, they're everywhere. If somebody's everywhere and they're everywhere well, it's probably not them. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. I've been binge watching your videos, but I can't seem to find a video that breaks down what the Free Mama guide entails, as in how and what would I specifically gain after purchasing the guide. So great question. The guide includes several templates for getting started. So templates for networking on social media. It also includes my entire book inside of it, as well as a few training videos on like LLC versus sole proprietor, what you need to know about taxes. So a lot of those things that like when you first think about freelancing or you first think about starting your own business, it really tackles a lot of the objections of the fears that we have when we think about doing that. Does that make sense? So I know for me, like, it was like, well, I can't quit my job. Like my whole family's on my benefits and like, I don't know how to pay taxes. Like, I don't know how to do these things. And it's a lot of those fears that I think prevent people from getting started. So the guide is really meant to be an introduction to freelancing and give you the confidence to pursue self-employment. It does talk about client acquisition. It does talk about finding your services. And again, it gives you a couple of introductory templates to get started. One step above the guide would be the freelance success kit, the quick start program. So that's going to have a lot more actual training, whereas the guide is a lot more, it's a guide. It's a book. There's a couple of video tutorials and some downloads. So it's really introductory. The guide is going to answer the question of, is self-employment, is freelancing for me? The quick start is going to focus on cash injection. Like, how can I get my first few clients so that I can have the whole A to Z Free Mama movement? And just so you guys know, like 1 in 4 people who enroll in our quick start will end up upgrading for the full program, because the course is comprehensive. The Free Mama movement, it's everything you need to know A to Z in terms of how to do these things. Great question. Okay. Also, how much should one budget to start their business? Technically, all you need is a computer and Wi-Fi. So if you already have a computer and Wi-Fi, you guys have everything you need to get started. You need to check with any of your local stuff about if you need to have any sort of license. That varies across not just the state, the city, the county, the countries, and we have people from all over the world. So you might have some fees to pay, even if you stay as a sole proprietor. To open a bank account, you might need a DBA. So really minimal. I suggest, like, very strongly, investing in a domain and G Suite so that you can be equipped professionally. Other software that I go over, and all this is on Free Mama TV, and we go over how to do it in the guide, but set up your Calendly, your Zoom, those you can start with for free. You don't have to get a paid account to do that. So with that being, like, that's the beauty of having a virtual business, is that your overhead is almost non-existent. Almost everything is optional. It will help you grow. It is not required to get started. Does the course ever go on sale? The course does not ever go on sale, other than our webinar special pricing, which is $997, which is what it's on sale for right now through the relaunch of the Free Mama Movement 2.0. And if you go to beafreemama.com, you can get that rate, which will only be available days. The clock is ticking. I do not put it on sale the same way I would not advise you guys to discount your pricing when you know what you're doing and you've been doing it. I'm currently a middle school teacher and I feel I lack skills to start a business. You absolutely do not. Search the Free Mama Movement Facebook group for teacher, the word teacher. We've had, I don't know if Jordan's still on. I would speculate we've had definitely dozens, possibly hundreds of teachers go through our program. So you are not alone. Connect with another one. You have so many skills to become a teacher at any grade level. And you're a middle school teacher. So that's like the hardest time in anyone's life. And you are working with these little humans. Like, that is amazing. You know how to curriculum plan, lesson plan. That takes a whole lot of the same skills that it would take for someone who is building out a course. So maybe working with coaches and course creators is a really strategic approach that you could take and assist them with. And can someone take the time to answer these questions? Yes, I just did. I hope that was helpful. If you have additional questions, let me know. Let's see. Totally. So Tony says, using 2 mediums, you're actually reaching a much larger audience. This is so true. And I have a team that helps me do that. So repurposing is awesome. Protect your time when you're just getting started. Okay. Be super intentional. Now, let's talk about an example of this. If Instagram is your main platform where you're going to build your personal brand and network, that's awesome, because on Instagram, you can literally click a little button and it will push it through over to your Facebook. So that's like a 2-for-1 deal, right? So there's no doubt, like, the more places you are, the more places you have a presence. However, if you're doing it yourself and you're constantly repurposing your content, you're spending a whole lot of time building potentially an audience, but not on an income producing activity. It's just not where you should start when you're starting as a service provider. Be one place, be there well, build connections, build relationships with people, all the stuff we talk about all the time. I want to be good at one thing. Why am I doing so many things? Beth, it's so true. And I feel it, by the way. Like, I like to do a lot of different things. And I finally realized, like, I can be good at something and I can like something, and it doesn't mean that I have to do it or should do it, or that it's in my best interest to reach my goals to do it. So sometimes we have to learn to let things go, even when they're things that we're good at. If you really want to level up and position your business for something that is scalable, it's really important that you niche down and get specific, because then you can systemize, you get faster, you get more efficient, you become known for something. and you have a specific area that you continue to invest in and gain more experience, and your pricing goes way up. Okay, let's see. With that being said, it's your business. Do what you want. If you enjoy doing multiple things, do it. But it can be tricky because it makes it harder for you to become known for something. Will the behind the scenes be similar to the squad behind the scenes? No, it will not, Ashley. It's not how we made it. It's going to be the actual program. I know, but great question. Didn't even listen to a podcast until I could watch it. Yeah, you visual learner. I got it. Okay, let's see. I'm looking for question marks. Okay, I think I'm all caught up. All right. And I don't see any questions on Instagram. You guys are quiet over there today. I see people coming and going. All right. I hope this was helpful. If you guys have any more questions, send me a message on Instagram or post in the comments and tag me on Facebook. All right, guys, have an amazing rest of your week, an amazing Monday, and I'll see you next week. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of Free Mama Radio. Don't forget to check out Free Mama TV right here on YouTube for hundreds of how-to videos and interviews to help you start, grow, and scale a virtual business from home. If you want to join a community of tens of thousands of moms just like you, make sure you join the Free Mama Movement group over on Facebook. And lastly, if you want to learn more about how we can do this together, work to achieve your goals, and make you our next success story, check out my free training at thefreemamamovement.com. I'll see you next time.